Hello everyone, it's Shane Kanto, your Wasteland reviewer, and I'm here to review My Mother's Wedding. This is a new drama coming to you from actor Kristen Scott Thomas, who co-wrote this film with John Micklethwaite and stars as the titular mother with her three daughters played by Scarlett Johansson, Sienna Miller, and Emily Beecham. And this focuses on the story of said three sisters return to their home for the third marriage of their twice widowed mother. But the mother and daughters are forced to revisit the past and confront the future with help from a colorful group of unexpected wedding guests. And this film tonally is a little shaky, and I feel like Thomas leans a little too much into this very sappy, melodramatic kind of tone to the film, especially because this is dealing with trauma and loss and grief that's all boiling back up to the surface. Something like a wedding can be such a special day, but also, especially when it comes to family, it brings up a lot of stuff. And you feel that tension building between these three sisters, their mother marrying a really nice guy. But each of these daughters has their own baggage. And at the center of it, you have Scarlett Johansson, who is going to become like the first female captain of a big naval ship. Scarlett Johansson's British accent, a little bit distracting, but she delivers a strong performance where she has this more stiff upper lip, more reserved kind of approach, but there's moments where she has these flashes, these memories, and you can feel the vulnerability coming up to the surface. And I also appreciate the visual of this simplistic hand-drawn animation that feels very nostalgic, that brings these memories to life on screen. And it's an effective tool to be able to set up the headspace that Scarlett Johansson's in, along with her sisters, because they struggle to get past the specter of their fathers who've long passed away, who are both also in the Navy. And you have Sienna Miller, who gets a chance to give a bigger performance than she usually does in most films, because she's an actress, she's a celebrity, she has this big personality, and she has her own tensions because she has a a man who's their mother's age interested in making her his mistress, and also her confronting the fact that her son is growing up and getting closer to adulthood. And then Emily Beecham's Georgina has a lot of baggage because she's struggling with a crappy husband who's an adulterer, and she's living this life where she isn't treating herself with enough respect. And then you have Johansson, who's starting to reflect their fathers and isn't there for her partner, played by Frida Pinto, or her son. And each of them go on a journey for themselves, and I feel like those journeys through this film feel pretty satisfying. I do feel like the film does not quite hit where this family together as a family get past these issues. I feel like it's a little underwritten, it's undercooked, and not enough of these journeys really reach a truly satisfying point. I feel like probably Georgina Beecham's character, who Beecham brings a lot of empathy and insecurity to this performance, but honestly I feel like she's one of the few that really gets an actual satisfying arc by the end of the film. Thomas, I think, gives a fantastic performance as their mother. There's a big climactic confrontation in a cemetery where she really lays it all out there. Maybe a little bit too bluntly laying it all out there, and maybe the screenplay could have fleshed out some of these things in a little less just a blunt and direct way. But I do feel like this film is filled with plenty of interesting characters, strong performances across the board from this cast. It just tonally is struggling to feel like it's really clicking, delivering on these big emotional beats in a rich, deep, and meaningful way. It feels a little too sappy. It feels a little too Lifetime movie-y, Hallmark even at that point. And overall, I feel like this narrative never quite fully comes together, bringing this family to a satisfying point, even if it does, for some of the individuals, have some more meaningful elements that reach that finish line. But those are my thoughts on My Mother's Wedding. Let me know what you think, and let's talk some movies. But thank you as always for tuning in and supporting your Wasteland reviewer.